Hey everybody, it's Michelle from Florida Keys Birding, Reptiles, and Wildlife, and today we're talking about a very interesting reptile called the Green Anole. It's a small lizard. You might see it and think it's a little baby iguana or maybe some kind of brown anole or Cuban anole, but it's actually a completely separate species of anole. So this is the Green Anole. So the Green Anole is usually a very bright green color, but it's not always green, almost like a lime green. You can see it here. It can also turn darker olive in color, almost to like a sandy brown, to very, very dark. So don't confuse this lizard with the Brown Anole, which is usually light to dark brown in color. The nose is not as long and slender as the Green Anole, and this lizard is usually 5 to 8 inches in length. As I said before, you can ID the difference between this lizard and the Brown Anole by its sharp nose, a narrow head, a slender body, and a long skinny tail. It has a white belly and lips, very long hind legs, and movable eyelids, almost like a chameleon. They also have what looks like a bright blue eyeshadow on. It's like a turquoise eye ring almost. It's pretty interesting. But it looks really pretty up against the green, the bright green and the bright blue eye ring. So the Green Anole will also change colors based on the temperature, humidity, and its health and mood, and it also maybe will try to blend into the background. So if it sees you and it doesn't like you, and it may change color and go darker to try to blend in with a tree or a fence or something like that. So this has happened to me before when I'm trying to photograph them. So the males have a pink or red throat fan, also known as the dewlap. So the green iguana also has a dewlap and all that stuff, so you can usually see them kind of like shaking their head around and waving their dewlap around. But when it comes to lizards are usually fanning the little throat patch out, and it's usually red or pink in the males. So let's talk a little bit about the range, where you can find them. The Green Anole is a Florida Keys native and can be found in the southeastern United States from Virginia all the way to the Florida Keys and west to central Texas and Oklahoma. That's pretty interesting because I never really saw them much until I moved to the Keys. When I lived in central Florida, I didn't really see them, so maybe the habitat is not as good for them, or maybe I just didn't notice. I don't know. But they are native here. They've also been introduced to Hawaii, apparently. So the habitat for the Green Anole is a very high humidity place. That's what they prefer, hence why you would find them in the Keys and the Everglades and in Florida. And they can also be found in swamps, forests, wooded beaches, and other areas with trees. It may also be found in parks and yards. I find them frequently in my yard. The Green Anole is often found basking in the sun as it clings to the trees, shrubs, vines, palm fronds, and fence posts and walls. I see them a lot on fence posts. I see them kind of all over, anywhere, on a wall or a fence or a tree or whatever, basking in the sun. So let's talk a little bit about diet. What does the Green Anole like to eat? So the Green Anole generally will eat mostly insects. It eats spiders, flies, crickets, small beetles, moths, butterflies, small slugs, worms, ants, and termites. Oh yeah, please get those termites. I do not want them on my house. Yeah, and I've actually also observed them on the bird feeder eating seeds. No, I'm just kidding, not really. They're eating tiny bugs on the bird feeder. They were eating seeds. Just a little humor there. But I was wondering when I first saw them what they were doing there. I was like, why is it on the bird feeder? What is it doing? And then I realized it was eating these little mealy bugs that had gotten into the bird seed. So the Green Anole will only notice prey that is moving. I noticed there's a lot of lizards that are like that. My bearded dragons are like that. Usually if I move the collard greens around a little bit, then he wants to eat it. But if it's just sitting there, he doesn't care. So it gets most of its water from the dew on plants. But I've also seen the green anole doing a strange behavior, which a couple of other people in the group have also noticed, and this is something that was not listed. So I actually did read an article thanks to one of our Facebook group members that is connected to this channel, and they sent me an article saying that apparently people have observed green anoles in South Florida licking the nectar off of different plants and other things. I have personally observed them eating nectar off Christmas tree palm, like flower berries, and off my hummingbird feeder. The other day I got a video of this guy trying to lick the nectar off my hummingbird feeder. So that's a pretty interesting behavior that apparently it's a thing here in South Florida. I don't know if it's a thing anywhere else. So I wonder why. I wonder what the thing is with that. So it's pretty interesting. So the breeding and the life cycle of the green anole is pretty interesting as well. The green anole will breed from March to September, hence why you tend to see them here more in the Keys during the spring and the summer, which is something I have noticed. I don't see them a lot in the winter, mostly spring and summer. And I can tell you that they're becoming active right now. So if you are in South Florida, be on the lookout for the green anole. I've been seeing them hanging around my bird feeders and the bird bath, drinking a little water from there and eating some bugs and drinking some nectar and stuff like that. So the male will normally establish a territory and patrol it, so they're pretty territorial. He will attract females by puffing out his dewlap, and remember that males have a pink or a red dewlap, so you can tell them apart when you see one. He usually mates with a female in his area and will aggressively defend his territory from other males. So the female lays a single egg and she will bury it in moist leaf litter, hollow logs, or soil. She will lay one egg every 2 weeks during the breeding season. Wow, that is a busy mama. She may lay up to 15 to 18 eggs during the summer. Okay, that's not too bad because it's like one every 2 weeks, so that makes sense. The female does not stay with the eggs though. She doesn't care for her young like a bird would, or like another mammal or something like that. Typical reptile behavior. Reptiles generally don't care for their young, except for alligators and crocodiles. They do. They're very protective of their young for many years. But the green anole is like the typical lizard. She just, drops and abandons them and they take care of themselves. So after she lays her eggs, they typically hatch in 5 to 7 weeks. And young green anoles eat small insects like mealworms, fruit, houseflies, and termites. You go ahead and get those termites, green anole. Yes, please do. Please get all the termites. I don't want any termites in my house. Okay. So I hope you learned a little bit more about the green anole and that you enjoyed this video. A little interesting behavior from the green anole. We all have the answer now. I put the question in the group this week about what the interesting feeding behavior was, and the answer was the nectar and the hummingbird feeders. So let me know if you've ever absorbed. Let me know if you've ever observed this before, and if you have, let me know in the comments. It would be great to know that other people are seeing this, and if you're not in South Florida, it would be great to know if you're seeing this as well where you live. Okay, great. You guys have a great day, and continue watching and subscribe for more wildlife videos. Bye-bye.